Welcome to the wonderful world of technical difficulties. Hello,
Yay!
everybody.
Yay! Hey
Home
everybody!
sweet home.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh, we
Poor
solved it.
technologists can't get a damn recording going without problems.
Yeah,
Good
but the
times.
the issue is fixed in India, right?
It
Sort of.
is. It is. We
And
called
email
Indian
You
tech
solved it as
support and
well.
outsourced
took
it.
care of it.
You
Yeah.
outsourced the
I
issue.
didn't tell you guys. I posted a bug. And they fixed it for me.
Was it a
That's
big bug?
fantastic. The big
Yeah,
bug for last week.
it was. Yeah.
That's funny. That's funny. And Levy, I'm glad you finally made it back from the Hungarian Grand Prix. It's good of you to make it here.
It's always good to be back. How was the Grand Prix? Good,
You
good,
know,
good.
I'd say it was a great race, except for Max Verstappen cannot secure P1 this season. He finished P2,
Well, they would need a
second
new
place.
stable
Shed some
director, right?
tears.
Somebody would do the job better, like somebody from the States.
Yeah, they need to combine the Cadillac team with Red Bull. Wait, the Cadillac team, both of them did not finish. So, yeah, that probably would not work. Good times. But speaking about sports, we were talking last week. We've been talking about it off and on about the World Cup. Not interested in trying to persuade anybody to have a different opinion of what they watched. I enjoyed it, but my background, I'm coming in for the World Cup and I'm going out and won't think about it for 4 years. So I'm not going to follow soccer
Football.
faithfully for the next 4 years. I will follow football, but not soccer. So in that, I started thinking about it, and what we've talked about is it's not the experience that everybody had. Everybody had a different experience, and overall for me, I thought it was pretty energetic and good. I don't know why Americans feel like you have to have a halftime show, and I don't know why you ask grandma to headline the show, but I didn't watch it anyways, so it's good. Total waste of time from my point of view, and I'm going to guess most Europeans would agree, or I'm agreeing with most Europeans. So, Abik, I don't know how you would feel about it. Halftime show worth it or not?
Same. I agree with you.
Yeah, it just makes no sense. It was the dumbest thing. But I didn't watch it, so that's the good news. What I did start thinking about, though, is really with the United States hosting the majority of the matches in North America this World Cup. You have Mexico and Canada as well. I was wondering about how did the metrics line up with previous World Cups, right? Number of viewers, new viewers, retention of viewers, all this information. So I thought about it, and you know what? This is a great test case for us to talk about how does AI handle requests for information. When I say AI, I am not talking about what a developer sees. I'm not talking about what a hardcore person executing agentic AI or any other in-depth solution would be looking for. I'm talking about just common people. When we say AI, we're talking about using chatbots, basically going in and using your favorite tool to ask questions of a large language model. So I decided I'm going to run some requests, but I'm going to split it across two: ChatGPT and Claude. ChatGPT I turned to with an example prompt and asked for an output that I then applied in Claude. And Abik, if you want to share, you can show us what that looked like. But the whole point or intent was to not scientifically find or prove anything, not to go out and disprove anything. It was to see how are the large language models going to handle the request. So at the top of this, you can see my initial prompt. This is what I submitted to ChatGPT. I basically asked it create a prompt for me that shows me everything I'm asking for. It gave me 7 prompts, and out of those 7 prompts, the details they're just tremendously in depth. If you scroll down the beak, hopefully I got the combined here. You can see one of the outputs in file format. It's scrolling really slow. And in that output, it's kind of a summary document. Those are really, really great prompts. I'd like to say I wrote them, but I didn't. There we go. This is the first part of, there were multiple files, like 9 files it created. This is one of the summary files, a fan acquisition and retention model for FIFA. And as you go through this information, it's astonishing to me how good this document looks. Is it accurate? Are the facts presented facts? I don't know 100%, but spot checking it, a lot of this information holds true. From what I can find, a lot of this information holds true. It was a surprise how well Claude did in generating this information. And by the way, I can't generate a Word document or an Excel document using Microsoft Copilot on my own computer running Windows 11, but Claude can. It created both Excel and Word documents for me for this whole exercise. Did a great job. Did you guys take a look at? Have any thoughts? What are your impressions?
Who wants to go first?
You, of course.
Go ahead.
Always who's asking.
Since you're driving a beak, it's on you.
Well, I think the advent of these tools makes it easier to basically collect a lot of data in a very short amount of time. And then, back in the day without ChatGPT or Claude, you probably would have to navigate to various sources and do it yourself. That's where the human intelligence came into picture, that what data do I want in my, hero slide? What should be the executive summary and all that jazz? But now, I think just with prompts and basically giving some context to the chatbot, that what are we really looking for, the data is available very quickly. Now, that's a separate thing that we probably have to vet that data, whether it's accurate or not. But if you add that element as well into the prompt, that do a validation of blah blah blah, the sources of the data, then I think it's very interesting. Someone who's doing content creation, for that person to crunch data and look for a simple summary, that where was the viewership of FIFA the most, and what are the numbers associated, the revenue related stuff. I think it's pretty fascinating to get access to all of that data in a few minutes. That's what I think.
I agree. The funny thing is, though, Beak, one of the things you said, I think this is running on Sonnet 5, if I'm not mistaken. I'd have to go back out and look. When we first started doing the prompt engineering, you remember when prompt engineer was going to be the next new job, lasted for about 6 months, and each language model is advanced enough where you don't even have to tell it anymore. It automatically goes out, and it already knows you're going to expect facts to be checked. And in many cases, it provides a summary of all the links of sources it used. Does a great job. It's just it's not intelligence. It's like a collaborative partner. And so when it starts to make mistakes, it just makes mistakes, and it doubles down on it. It believes it's giving you the right answer, and it just keeps doubling down. So you end up with a hot mess. And to your point, if you were to look at what when we started at the same company we previously all worked at, I spent 2 days working through market analysis for hiring proposals, because when we started with a couple of the new accounts, especially, we had to do walk-in and takeover. So we had to forecast X number of contractors, how many FTEs do we need, and what does the contract say? All the market analysis I did, it took me 2 days. This amount of data, which far exceeds what I created in 2 days, was generated roughly in about the time span of about 12 to 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Yes. So in this particular example, it's the level of intelligence required for AI is minimal. But if you see other use cases, for example, you want to build a prototype for anything, and I've done it in the past with Claude. I think it still sort of does a decent job in terms of just giving you the code for that prototype. So in this scenario, I think it didn't use a lot of intelligence, because it was more of crunching data across various websites, or websites like Statista and I don't know whatnot.
Yeah, there are a lot of sources, sources. But look at the logic,
compiling.
though. Yeah. Look at the logic, though, Beak. If you look at a necessary caveat before any numbers, it tells us up front, kind of in human terms, what I had to take in consideration. And when I wrote the initial prompt, I accepted and knew data collected in 1976 was going to be far different than data collected in 2026. But I wanted to see, how does the LLM handle it? And if you scroll, it goes through each step. Each section is basically addressing that. So I agree with you for the most part on your point, but at the same time, I see where it split it out into a human cognitive format. So somewhere in its training, it has learned how to process this kind of information and collate it together. So to me, this is just astonishing. And the regional estimates it's giving here, that I believe is 100% spot on with what you just said. Didn't have to spend a lot of cycles on it, but how to format it and how to present its case, I'm talking about it as though it is a human, it's very human-like without being human, if that makes any sense. Correct me, Levy.
My problem with it, okay, so the thing is that this, because it's as we already talked about, it's a glorified search engine, right? And it does
Huge,
so
yeah.
much more as well. But if you have done it yourself, that means that you went through all this data, you collected the data points that you were looking for, and try to gradually work out some sort of like statement based on the data. But with AI, you immediately get the information that is very convincing. It looks perfectly, founded, but because of that, you are just like a passenger on this ride. It's like when you were 10 and you had a mixtape and you put it in the deck and played it, and you call yourself a DJ. So it's like or right now astronauts, they are just passengers on the spacecraft, right? I mean, they don't push anything. It will just fly there and dock and whatnot and return. So it's like basically you will still have to, and I think that's the hard part, that most people would just skip the hard part, which is like checking, fact checking the outcome. And I think that's what is the next challenge with AI, and which most people will just fall in a trap with, that you just take it as a fact and run with it, and never check it, and then eventually maybe you will get lucky at the first couple of times, and then you will make a big fool of yourself, and then
Right. And Levy, I think you're touching on the point. In the past, if we used R, if we used Python, if we used SQL, any language where we were trying to extract data, we had to have competency in how to create those scripts, how to write. We had to have that competency. With an LLM, you don't. You just need a conversation window there, and you can ask it. And you saw in my initial prompt, it was very high level. Didn't go into the details of what it provided and what we see. It's very high level. So that risk of value you're getting out of it, you get high value, assuming it's accurate.
Yes.
But you're no longer aware, is it really accurate? Because you're not writing a script, you're not extracting any data for analytics, you're not a SQL data miner, so to speak. So you don't have to apply a competency. You just look at it and say, well, yeah, it looks right.
You know why it feels unnatural to me is that the deterministic part of it is missing. So when you write a code, you know where you want to get to, right? And if you write a book, you know where you want to end up with, and it might change in the way, but the end goal is still something that from the beginning you will know. With AI, it's a weird. It's like a feeling like you traveling without a destination.
The other
So
thing is that you guys were talking about with the, with the scripting. You knew what, and you know what is in the database, what kind of data that you can pull from it. You're just using the script to make it faster, easier, kind of like automated in one way or another, right? With AI, with that prompt as well that you had, Troy, yeah, it's high level. You don't know what's available from data perspective. It's like fishing for data. right? And again, we know internet is internet, and we know everything is true that's up on the internet, right? And
100%.
valid. Somebody said it at some point. No, just joking. So you go and you try and you test. But again, back to what you guys just said now, and we talked about it many times. It's not reliable because there is no mechanism behind it to ensure that the data that gets uploaded and promoted and distributed to the whole wide world, it's accurate and it's valid.
Right.
That's where the fundamental problem is.
Exactly. And even though this provided me all the source references, I would have to be disciplined to go out and verify
All of
sources,
them.
right?
Yeah.
I spot checked a couple of the facts in there. Like it said, it reached 6 billion viewers, either radio, streaming, TV, but 6 billion people engaged for World Cup 2026. That can't be true. So I dug into that, and if it looks like it's true. I'm about 95% convinced it's true.
But most of the people would believe it just like that, but,
yeah, that's
you're
the
right.
funny thing.
Go ahead.
Now, each of us is different. We're going to view the data in a different way, and some will readily accept what they've received back as, oh, let's run with it. How embarrassing when you present that in the meeting and find that none of it's accurate.
Yeah, and then what Levi said as well, that's true. At the beginning, you're probably gonna get lucky, and everything you're presenting and everything the AI is pulling together for you, it's probably gonna be accurate or 90% accurate, whatever the topic is, right? It depends on that. But at some point, you're gonna fail, and as he said it rightly, you're gonna make a fool of yourself if you believe and you go and start presenting it, especially to your leadership and executives and whatnot. And then it comes back that, hey, that's rubbish. And somebody's going to call you out on it, and then you will have to say that, hey, it was AI. Oh, and you believed AI?
Don't you find it very similar to like a human struggle for feeding yourself? So like in the past couple of thousand years, it was always well, there was something of a possibility that you will starve to death at some point, right? But nowadays it's very unlikely for large part of the globe. Of course, it's not yet fixed, but we are on the way, right? And this is very similar with information nowadays. I think is that your information is so readily available that you should put in energy to filter through it. So it's the same way, like you should put in actual energy not to overeat, for instance, or eat garbage all the time. So it's like the hardest part of a day is not to feed yourself to an early grave. So it's like
That's
crazy,
an incredible
right?
analogy.
But it's the same with information.
But it's well.
Because it will okay, it won't give you diabetes, but it will make you a cabbage nevertheless. So
No, that's true as well. There's just so many things. Again, like we said it before, there are so many things up on the internet uncontrolled, and then you can easily get addicted to it. And we are seeing it on our kids, right? Not you, Abik, your little one yet, but we all see it. They are just scrolling, and I'm looking at my daughter as well, and reels and scrolling. What is the information that they are consuming of it? Or is it really just kind of like a distraction?
numbing. It's a numbing effect.
Yeah, that's why. They probably are just using it as a distraction just to kill some time whatsoever, because, I don't know, there is school holiday, summer holiday, right, in school. They have nothing else to do, but they are doing it more and more, not just in breaks.
Because you don't longer have to. Sorry.
You don't have to do any longer any additional work to be put in. Like going back to what you said about food. In the past, couple thousand years ago, we needed to go out hunting and collecting fruits and whatsoever.
Or water.
That was water, and that was the whole day, right? And then you went back to your little tent, whatsoever it was, and then started cooking, and that was all about it. Now you just have to get one of the apps on your phone. Oh, this is what I want to eat. It's going to be here in 10 minutes. And you don't even have to wash the dishes.
If it's there in 11, your world is collapsing and you are having a tantrum, right?
You have a meltdown and you start escalating
And
the age.
just 200 years back, you should have to fend off the grizzlies, fight the wolves in the night. Well, maybe,
exactly.
Troy, you have to do that
Today as
in
well.
your area, right?
Sometimes.
But yeah, I mean, we have so much free time, and what we spend it on, like, yeah, funny cats, right? And
Yeah, I saw,
basically.
It's funny, I saw, of all things, I saw a reel that highlighted and talked about our ancestors and how thousands of years ago they slept on the ground with wildcats, wolves, everything around them, but yet we survived. And why? And in that, it was a study essentially that said in that collectively 20 people sleeping in the same spot surrounded by wild animals could eat them at any time. 7 hours of sleep, only 18 total minutes during that 7 hours was everybody actually asleep at the same time. Naturally,
that's interesting.
We stayed awake. Somebody would be awake at some point, and even though you had a fire going, the fire would die out by 2 o'clock in the morning, right? It's only going to burn so long, and we survived.
Yeah,
Can't
it's
do
survival instincts, and we don't, and most of the people don't have it now.
Can't do it without this.
Yeah.
I don't know how they survived.
Yeah, exactly.
How they stayed awake without the alarm coming on.
Well, you gotta have a smartphone to survive today.
You would also struggle to find 20 people nowadays that you would confidently sleep in the same room without any any protection. So
thanks for that point, Levy. Good point, though.
You didn't think about that, right, Troy? But hey, you live in a state where there are too many people in one family, so getting 20 people together in one room is not difficult. But whether you want it or not, it's a different story.
I've got neighbors down the street, 9 kids, and
that's what I'm talking about,
11
man.
kids.
That's what I'm talking about.
My grandmother on my dad's side had 13.
Not gonna say anything. 13. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so
why they stop there?
There's only so much time in a life cycle, right? When you get into your 40s and it's like running out of available time here.
So by the time 13, they're just popping out like.
Yeah, so I've got that. Thanks for pointing it out, Judith. I appreciate it. Yeah,
You're welcome.
Good
one
for
half
you.
Of my family at 13 kids.
That's great.
Well, that was norm back then. We know that, but nowadays it's not. It's still a struggle. If you want to talk about kids and families and things like that, I don't know how people are doing it. Even Levy with 2 kids. I know I'm the middle child. I know that. So my parents managed it as well, one way or another, and many of us are in the same situation. But going back to AI and technology, I think parents are as well focusing more on that than on the kids. So if you just think about it as an example, when my daughter was young, 20 years ago, we didn't have any of the technology that we have right now. TV, yes. And then I got always slapped on the wrist that, hey, why is your daughter watching TV or cartoons whatsoever while eating? My kid is not gonna do that ever. We have those in the family, right? And then they're gonna have kids. And then they are 1-year-old and 2-year-old, and they are watching the freaking iPhone and tablet and whatsoever while they are being fed instead of taught to be feeding yourself with the spoon and everything else, right? So where does it lead with the younger generation? Not in the right direction, in my mind. And then you have 6-7-year-old kids who still need to be fed because they don't know how to do it for themselves, and they need to go to school.
So the one that's at highest risk here, Abik, is you.
I'm already struggling. So
You've got the youngest.
I always tell my parents that don't keep your mobile phones close to this kid. Just keep them away. But he still has to watch TV to see the poems and stuff. And the moment the intro video starts for Cocomelon, he's like glued to the TV. And then he'll be hypnotized. And then I'll come in and I'll say that you've got to break it. Just shut the damn TV off. But what do you do? I mean, you don't have to teach little babies now how to scroll the screen.
No, they know
it. They start scrolling.
Yeah, it's very.
They know it, natural. And that was my problem as well with my nieces and nephew as well. That they cannot talk yet, right? Because they are at that age, 1 or 2 or whatever it is. But you put the phone in front of them, and they just start scrolling and figure out where they want to go and what they want to watch.
Yeah.
There is something fundamentally wrong here, right? So, but it's on the parents again. And I'm not
I
blaming anyone.
agree.
I know it's easier. You don't need to deal with the nagging and whatsoever, whining, crying.
Yeah.
So here's the phone, be done with it.
Yeah, I think it's kind of tough to get them motivated towards other activities. But yeah, going outdoors, having pets certainly helps.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna do as well, but let's see. Time will tell how successfully I do it.
Let's see what you say in a year. Ha!
Yeah.
So the other day I was just searching on Google's AI mode that how do we make ourselves, better from a cognitive perspective? Because AI is here to sort of screw up our intelligence, and I kind of thought I'll share this with you. So if you count backwards, it's a brain exercise. I've not done it previously, but I think that's one of the things that we can do or our kids can try. And then apparently, if you walk backwards and then do a countdown of 100 till 1, that's also helpful. But the struggle is, how do you make your child do that?
Oh
How do
yeah.
you make your child do a crossword or a Sudoku or a backward
Good
counting?
question.
And that's where you kind of have to engage at a very deep level with the child, which is not easy.
But you
Lead by
see,
example. That's the only thing you can do. Lead by
one
example and have them follow.
Yeah.
one
Go
thing
ahead.
just happened with Lila, for instance. She's 6. She's turning 7 soon. But I never thought of teaching her chess. Never occurred to me. I played when I was a child, but I haven't played for a while. And we are using Duolingo with the larger daughter, and I have it for the small one as well. And they started with chess on Duolingo. So there's math and
That's good.
chess and music as well. And we started playing with with the elder daughter, and she also picked it up. And now she's very good at chess. To be honest, she just picked it up naturally and surprisingly good. I mean, I'm not a master in any sort of way, but I have 1,000 elo, and she can surprise me big time. Like, I'm like a solid beginner chess player, and she surprised me with her. She can comprehend like 2-3 steps in advance what's going to happen when I'm setting up a trap. And she's just.
That's good.
I don't even have to let her like get away with things because she's preparing very very good, and she picked that up naturally, and she's watching too much YouTube to my taste, and playing with the games on the tablet, but mostly what you can do, because you cannot really block them, is to, at least what I found, is to try to push them into logical or strategical games which require like further planning or thinking in the future, those sort of things. That's what you can do, because you cannot really just cut them off, because it's gonna be every.
You could, but it might turn out to be a disaster at the beginning.
Well, they will
Right?
find a
So,
way to go around it. So
but just think about it. When we were kids, our parents said as well, "No, you're not doing it," and took your toy away. Right? It happened.
Yes.
So eventually, and you probably didn't get it back for like 10 days or whatever it was. Right? And then you had to find another way to entertain yourself. So what did we do? We went out in the garden, we went out in the forest, do whatever, because there were no other way, right? They would do the same thing, but it's just gonna be way more painful now.
Yeah, it's very interesting to watch, because I've got a granddaughter, send her outside to play, and initially she'll look lost.
Yeah.
What does it mean to come out to play? I don't even know what I'm supposed to do out here.
What are these people doing here? And why are they
Yeah.
here? It's my playground. Leave me alone.
Yeah,
So,
but that's a
but what
great point you're making, though.
but they
what I'm
adapt
missing,
quickly.
what I'm missing here in parents in general is that they are not giving the opportunities and the choices to their kids. There are plenty of things to do outside, inside the house. Like Levi, you said it, chess would have never occurred to me either. But only because I don't know 3 things to do and entertain myself, it doesn't mean that my child has to have that 3 only, right? need to be able to expand the horizon for them, and that's the piece that I'm missing.
But that's
Not
also
myself,
if
because
you
she's doing something that I cannot do, but in general, in adults and parents, because again, it's easier to give the tablet.
But it's also, isn't it, the multitude of options are so great that it's also like the abundance of possibilities is just reducing your will to pick one, and
I agree.
it's
I agree.
much easier to just give it to the child, and they will just numb themselves, and then you don't have to grind your gears. Okay, what to do, because there's water parks, and then go-kart, and then rock climbing, and then zip lining, and then whatever.
Let me
Thousands and
challenge that.
thousands of options.
Yeah, but let me challenge that. What are you setting your kids up for future? And that's the question that needs to be asked. Again, I understand it's easier and whatsoever, right? And you don't need to use your brain capacity, but you're taking the chances from your kids away for future.
Yeah. Well, it's a walk in the forest could be just as entertaining and much more relaxing than any high rev. Like you
With the
remember
grizzly
when
coming, yeah.
Yeah, but I met a hare. I mean, there are no
Yeah,
grizzlies
yeah.
here.
So,
It's
so
not
what I was
Utah.
going to say, Levy, is so when we were young, if an adult at that time told you or asked you, does a bear shit in the woods? You would say, yes, he does, and that's my opportunity to run the other way. A kid today is going to like, what does that even mean? What does that mean?
Yeah, yeah. To them, the bear is fluffy.
And yeah, well, and to your bunny rabbit, it's still burned in my memory. Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Rabbits are not always safe.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave it
Well,
at that.
it was a surprisingly confident hare for sure.
Definitely.
Knew something.
That's too
Maybe
funny.
it was packing heat.
That was your luck.
Yeah.
Definitely had a hop in his step, man. That was awesome. No corny. Anyways, a good conversation. Anything you guys want to wrap up with?
We haven't really talked about football, have we?
We pivoted from football to
So-
AI to parenting.
What
Actually,
a bunch
in all
of
Exactly, we
fairness,
dorks.
covered everything.
we're very close to preseason for football. It's very close. I think it kicks off in a couple weeks. So
Yeah,
I'll keep you
football.
guys up to date. Yeah,
The
when
football
football
where
gets going, I'll let you know.
that part of football where you pick up the ball and run with it. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's why it's called football,
That makes
right?
perfect sense. Yeah.
Yeah, it is what it is.
It's a rugby.
It's kind of
In
it's
gear.
kind of a combination of rugby and some
Armored
other
rugby.
things.
Armored rugby.
Yeah, that's why in a
There you
gear.
go.
Rugby.
There you go.
That's
Rugby for
crazy.
wussies.
We just need Erling Haaland to don the suit, man. He'd make a
Yeah.
great footballer.
You know, in
The soccer
Ireland,
stuff, he needs to put it behind him.
For
you
real.
know, in Ireland they have the hurling. Have you heard about hurling? Have you seen how they play it?
Vaguely, yeah.
You know, they have this bat. It looks like a what is it? A bone of a mammoth or something.
Yeah.
And they hit like a cricket ball or a baseball with it, very hard ball, and they run with it, and they don't have pretty much they don't have any protection. They have regular collarbone injuries, you know, because they just slash down. So it's like it's halfway through a sport and a Viking attack on the village or something.
There you go.
So
That's the remnants of the Vikings, I guess, right?
yeah, well,
Yeah, something
they've
like
spent
that.
sometimes on the islands, I guess.
Good times. Well, you want to close this out, Abik?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would just say that we probably have to just evolve with these AI tools and see how we can sort of understand capabilities of each of them and use it to our advantage and block our kids, redirect them into
Excess.
physical activities and stuff.
I don't have
which
to
is-
worry. I don't have to worry at that level. Judith, you're only partially having to worry at that level.
Don't have to either anymore.
Good luck, Levy and Beak. I hope it all works out.
We'll see. A couple of
Let
years,
us know if you need help with it.
Will do.
you can tell us what not to do.
Exactly.
Good,
Exactly.
I guess until we meet again.
Yep. Starting from dinosaurs.
Have a great week ahead.
You too. See you guys.
Thank you.
Talk to you soon.
See you. Bye.